Have you ever wondered why, no matter how hard you try, some habits seem impossible to break? You wake up with the best intentions, promising yourself this is the day everything changes. You throw out the junk food, delete the distracting apps, vow to stop scrolling, to stop overthinking, to stop harming yourself with the same choices you've made 1,000 times before. And for a moment it works. You feel powerful, motivated, unstoppable, but then life happens, stress hits, fatigue creeps in, emotions swell. And suddenly the old patterns sneak back in, quiet but relentless, as if mocking your effort. You are not weak, you are not failing, you are human, and your brain is wired to resist sudden loss. It protects comfort, even when comfort is harmful. The truth is, habits are not enemies. They are the brain's automated responses to pain, pleasure, and repetition. Trying to fight them with sheer willpower is like trying to push a river upstream. It tires you, it frustrates you, and ultimately it fails. That struggle leaves you drained, doubting yourself, wondering if change is even possible. But what if it doesn't have to be this way? What if breaking a habit didn't demand heroism or massive sacrifice, but a smarter, quieter method that actually aligns with how your brain works? There is a philosophy born in post-war Japan that rebuilt entire industries from rubble, not with grand gestures or dramatic reforms, but with tiny, deliberate steps. It's called Kaizen. Continuous improvement, one small, almost invisible action at a time. Kaizen doesn't ask you to quit completely today. It asks, what is the smallest step you can take right now? Maybe it's one less cigarette, one 5-minute walk, one page of writing, one moment of mindfulness, tiny steps, almost laughably small. But here's the power. The brain loves small, achievable change. Small wins trigger dopamine, the same chemical that once kept you stuck in the habit loop. Each tiny success tells your mind, this feels good, I am capable. And the momentum begins to build. Habits weaken, not because you fight them, but because you gently redesign the system around you. You stop waging war on yourself. You stop asking for perfection. You start creating flow, consistency, and safety for your mind. Every day, one small adjustment repeated. That is where transformation begins. The emotional reward is enormous. Freedom. Freedom from the habits that drain your energy, poison your confidence, and steal your time. Freedom to reclaim control over your actions, to finally align who you are with who you want to become. Imagine the relief of no longer being trapped by your own patterns, the pride of seeing consistent progress, the quiet confidence that builds when small, intentional steps become unstoppable momentum. Stay with me, because in the next sections I will show you exactly how to take that first tiny step, how to make your brain love change, and how to break habits permanently, not with struggle, but with intelligence, patience, and the quiet power of Kaizen. This is your chance to stop fighting and start winning, one small step at a time. What if I told you that transformation does not come from heroic effort, but from improving by just 1%? 1%? It sounds almost meaningless, almost laughable. Yet mathematics and neuroscience reveal a truth most people overlook. Tiny, consistent growth compounds into unstoppable change. One small choice repeated every day reshapes your brain, rewires your habits, and slowly, imperceptibly, builds a new identity. This is the essence of Kaizen. Continuous, incremental improvement. Not trying to overhaul your life overnight, not waiting for motivation to strike, but committing to micro-actions that are so small they feel effortless. Your brain craves patterns, and when you create small wins, it rewards you with the same chemicals that once kept you trapped in the very habits you're trying to break. Dopamine, satisfaction. Validation. Each tiny victory, though seemingly insignificant, signals your brain that this new way of acting feels good, that it is safe, that it is worth repeating. That is how neural pathways are strengthened, how identity begins to shift, and how change becomes sustainable. The trick is not to fight the habit head-on. The trick is to reduce friction and make progress inevitable. If scrolling endlessly is your challenge, do not commit to reading a book in one sitting. Move your phone away from your hand. Remove the shortcut. Replace the cue with something just a little more intentional. If unhealthy eating has a grip on you, do not attempt to redesign your entire diet. Add a single healthy choice to one meal, just one, almost too small to matter. And yet, when done consistently, these micro-actions accumulate silently and powerfully. Your environment begins to work for you instead of against you. Your nervous system stops resisting. Momentum quietly begins to build. You are no longer relying on brute force or willpower, which always fades. You are using your mind's natural wiring to your advantage, aligning your actions with your biology instead of battling it. Each small improvement is a vote for who you want to become. 1% growth every day shapes your identity without overwhelming you. You start seeing yourself as someone who follows through, someone capable of consistency, someone who chooses progress over comfort. And the emotion that comes with this realization is magnetic. Pride, relief, and confidence rise as you witness proof of change, even when the progress feels tiny. You no longer need to wait for a surge of motivation. Motivation becomes a byproduct of action, not the driver. You move because your system is designed to move. You win because the brain rewards your persistence, not your perfection. Over time, these small wins compound exponentially. 1% today becomes 20% after weeks. Tiny choices become habits. Habits become identity. Identity becomes transformation. You stop fighting yourself. You stop hating your failures. You stop chasing dramatic breakthroughs. Instead, you become relentless, patient, and unstoppable in a quiet, profound way. The habits that once controlled you begin to weaken. They lose their hold because you are no longer opposing them, you are quietly outgrowing them. This is not theory, it is neuroscience. It is the philosophy that rebuilt entire companies, entire systems, entire lives with patience and precision. And it is available to you right now in this moment. One small adjustment, one tiny step, repeated consistently, can redefine who you are. Imagine the freedom, the strength, and the certainty that comes from harnessing this power. Your brain, your habits, your very identity can be redesigned, not through struggle, but through the deliberate, relentless accumulation of tiny, intelligent actions. This is how transformation becomes inevitable, unstoppable, and deeply empowering. A bad habit does not vanish simply because you decide it should. Every habit leaves a space inside you, a void your brain instinctively wants to fill. That is why quitting feels uncomfortable, even painful. The routine disappears, but the cue and the reward remain, tugging at your attention, whispering for the familiar relief. Your brain resists emptiness. It craves comfort, and the familiar loop is comforting. Trying to erase the habit without offering something to replace it is like tearing down a bridge without building a new one. You may get across once, but the next storm will wash you back to where you started. True change does not come from erasure. It comes from replacement, from guiding your brain toward a new, sustainable path. The Kaizen approach is radical because it does not demand heroism or perfection. It asks you to find one small, manageable alternative to the old behavior. Something so subtle that your brain accepts it without resistance. If stress triggers a harmful action, insert a 1-minute practice that gives your brain a new signal. Deep breathing, stretching, a single positive choice. If boredom triggers distraction, replace it with an equally simple, constructive act. The replacement must be smaller than your mind expects, almost too easy to matter, because repetition is the real agent of transformation. Each repetition is a seed. Each seed grows familiarity, and familiarity grows preference. Over time, the new behavior feels natural. The old one begins to feel heavy, awkward, unnecessary. Your identity shifts quietly but profoundly. You begin to see yourself as someone who evolves, someone who responds intentionally instead of reacting automatically. Every small action, every micro-choice, rewires the pathways your brain once traveled unconsciously. It is science working alongside intention. Each day, take a moment to reflect, to notice what improved rather than what failed. This trains your mind to focus on growth instead of judgment. Your attention shapes perception. Perception shapes emotion. Emotion shapes action. By celebrating the tiniest victories, you reinforce your new identity. The process is subtle but unstoppable. Setbacks will come, they are data, not defeat. Adjust, refine, continue. The old habit does not disappear overnight. It gradually loses power as the new one strengthens. You stop seeing the habit as a personal flaw and start seeing it as a pattern that can be redesigned. You are no longer fighting yourself. You are directing yourself. You are not punishing or forcing change. You are cultivating it patiently, intelligently, intentionally. Each micro-replacement compounds with the last, and the shift accelerates. What once felt impossible becomes inevitable. The habit that dominated your energy begins to fade, its grip loosening as your new behavior becomes familiar, comfortable, automatic. This is the power of Kaizen applied to your inner life. Small, deliberate substitutions, repeated faithfully, will transform your patterns, your mindset, your identity. Freedom emerges naturally. Strength becomes second nature. Confidence rises without effort because it is built into the very way you act. You are no longer a prisoner of old loops. You are the architect of your mind. Every tiny action is a choice for who you are becoming. Every small step is a declaration. You are evolving, you are growing, you are unstoppable. Change does not happen in bursts. It does not come in explosions of willpower or dramatic declarations. Real transformation is quiet. It is patient. It is the relentless accumulation of small, deliberate actions over time. The philosophy of Kaizen understands this with precision. It trusts the long game. It knows that systems, not motivation, create permanence. When you accept that meaningful change takes months, maybe even years, a weight lifts from your shoulders. The pressure to be perfect vanishes. You stop chasing miraculous breakthroughs and start honoring the process. Consistency becomes your ally, and that is where true power resides. Daily repetition, even of the tiniest actions, rewires your brain. Science confirms that habits solidify through repeated, stable practice, not emotional bursts or isolated victories. By acting consistently in the same context, you automate behavior, freeing your mind from the tyranny of choice. Automation is freedom. When your actions are anchored in ritual, when you create small, daily structures, your nervous system relaxes. Anxiety diminishes, doubt fades. The path forward becomes simple, almost inevitable. 2 minutes of focused breathing, one small page of writing, a single step toward movement or creation. Done every day, these micro-actions fortify your identity. They strengthen your roots before you reach for the sky. Patience cultivates resilience. You learn to see slow progress as strategic, not frustrating. When the scale barely moves, when the distraction tempts you, when life throws obstacles in your way, you do not despair. You adjust, you refine, you continue. You understand that setbacks are not failure, they are feedback. Each correction, each adjustment, each small return to the path is itself an act of mastery. Over time, the results become visible. Your mind sharpens, your energy rises, your confidence deepens, but the most profound change occurs silently. You are no longer chasing external validation or immediate reward. You have become someone who improves daily. Identity, not circumstance, now drives your action. External pressures may fluctuate, but the system you have built remains. When stress, fatigue, or uncertainty appear, you do not crumble. You return to the small steps that created the foundation of your strength. Discipline becomes effortless because it is no longer a battle. It is a natural extension of your life. Patience transforms from a passive endurance into an active force. It teaches you that slow, deliberate progress is not boring. It is unstoppable. When you honor time, repetition, and tiny improvements, you gain power that cannot be taken away. You do not rely on motivation. You rely on the process itself, and it carries you forward. You become unshakable. Every moment becomes a chance to reinforce your identity, every action a vote for the person you are becoming. You no longer fear failure because the system absorbs it. You no longer envy instant success because you know it is superficial. You are building something permanent. You are sculpting your life with the quiet patience of continuous refinement. And the freedom that comes from mastering the long game cannot be overstated. It is the freedom to act without fear, to grow without desperation, to become someone who cannot be derailed by fleeting challenges. You are no longer subject to the whims of habits. You are their master. Each micro-step compounds into unstoppable momentum, each repetition into unshakable confidence. And with that power, every barrier, every limitation, every old pattern that once held you back can be overcome. You are no longer chasing change. You are living it. Right now, you have a choice. One small choice, one deliberate action that can begin a transformation so profound, it changes the trajectory of your life. You do not need to demolish old habits in a single day. You do not need to be perfect. You need consistency, intelligence, and intention. The philosophy of Kaizen is not about forcing yourself. It is about aligning with the way your brain actually works. Every habit, every pattern, every loop is shaped by repetition and environment. If you shift the environment, adjust the cues, and offer even a tiny alternative, your brain begins to cooperate rather than resist. You can start with one habit, one behavior, one micro-action that nudges you toward the person you want to become. Make it almost too small to matter. Move one app, take one extra breath, drink one glass of water before a meal, write a single line of intention. The action is insignificant in isolation, but repeated daily, it compounds into unstoppable momentum. Every small win reinforces your identity. Every tiny success rewires your brain. Every incremental improvement strengthens your confidence, and the emotional impact is immediate. Pride rises, relief spreads, and the energy of possibility fills the space where fear and doubt once dominated. You begin to see that change is not external, it is internal. You are not waiting for circumstances to improve. You are creating circumstances that ensure your growth. Each micro step is a declaration to yourself. I am capable. I am evolving. I am becoming the person I promised myself I could be. Momentum builds quietly, imperceptibly, until one day the habits that once controlled you feel foreign, heavy, unnecessary. You no longer react to old triggers with the same automatic responses. You respond intentionally, guided by a new identity. You are not forcing yourself. You are living as the person who moves forward no matter what. This is freedom. This is mastery. The power of Kaizen is that it removes drama from transformation. No guilt, no shame, no desperation. Only repetition, reflection, and refinement. Each day becomes an opportunity to reinforce your progress. Each tiny improvement is evidence that you are growing, that you are reliable, that you are capable of change that lasts. And because the steps are small, the process is sustainable. You do not burn out. You do not fail in ways that break your spirit. You accumulate victories silently and steadily until the old patterns no longer hold sway. One small action leads to another. One habit gives way to another. One day you wake up and realize the person you once were, the one trapped in loops of distraction, anxiety, or self-sabotage, feels like a distant memory. You are stronger, more disciplined, more capable than you imagined. You are no longer waiting for motivation because the system you have built carries you forward. The habits, the identity, the momentum, they are now on your side. Every action you take reinforces who you are becoming. Every repetition is a vote for freedom, strength, and mastery. And when you step into this process, even the smallest step today, you set in motion a transformation that cannot be undone. You become unstoppable. Now is the moment to commit, not to perfection, not to grand gestures, but to the process itself. One small, deliberate choice repeated daily is more powerful than 1,000 promises made in a burst of motivation. Kaizen is not a technique you apply once. It is a mindset, a way of living, a quiet revolution inside you. The habits that once controlled your thoughts, your actions, your energy are not permanent. They are patterns, and patterns can be redesigned. Start with the smallest possible step. Make the habit slightly harder, the replacement slightly easier. Move one app, take one deep breath, write one line, choose one healthy option. The simplicity is deceptive. It is in these tiny, almost invisible steps that your power lies. Each action is a vote for the person you are becoming. Each repetition rewires your brain, reinforces your identity, and strengthens your confidence. You are no longer fighting your biology or your environment. You are working with them, guiding them gently, intelligently, intentionally. Every micro-step compounds. Momentum builds. The habits that once defined your life begin to weaken without drama or struggle. They lose their power because you are no longer opposing them. You are outgrowing them. Reflection magnifies this effect. Take a moment each day to ask, what improved today? Not what failed, not what went wrong, but what changed, however slightly. Your attention shapes your perception, and perception shapes your emotions. By focusing on improvement, you train your brain to seek growth, to notice progress, to reward effort. Confidence rises. Pride grows, relief replaces anxiety. The old loops that once pulled you back now feel foreign. They no longer resonate with the person you are becoming. Identity has shifted. You are no longer defined by your habits. You define your habits. You respond intentionally instead of reacting automatically. Discipline becomes effortless because it is no longer a battle. Patience becomes strength because you understand that slow, consistent action is unstoppable. Motivation is no longer required. The system carries you forward. Each day is a practice, each action a reinforcement of who you are. Setbacks are no longer threats, they are information. Adjust, refine, continue. The momentum you create cannot be undone. Your energy aligns with your intentions. Your actions confirm your identity. Your life moves forward with quiet, relentless progress. One small step today compounds into the person you will become tomorrow. One habit replaced gradually transforms your patterns. One day you will look back and realize the behaviors that once consumed your attention, your time, your confidence, no longer hold power over you. You are free. You are strong. You are disciplined. You are capable of change that lasts because you chose progress over pressure, consistency over heroics, reflection over shame. You are living Kaizen. You are unstoppable. Each moment is your opportunity to improve, to evolve, to become more than you were yesterday. Every tiny step matters. Every repetition matters. Every choice matters. The power is in your hands, in your actions, in your commitment to keep moving forward, no matter what. And when you honor this process, when you embrace the accumulation of small victories, you realize the truth. Transformation is not a destination. It is a lifestyle. It is the quiet, persistent practice of becoming unstoppable, one small step at a time.